If you're out in the woods at night, there are a few things you should never do. If you hear something, don't answer it. If it sounds like someone you know, don't follow it. And if something starts moving outside your camp, pretend you didn't hear it. Welcome to Campfire Static, where the woods watch back. Story 1. My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm 38 years old. Used to work utility inspections, power lines, remote substations, places most people don't think about until something stops working. After my divorce, I started taking long solo hikes through the Appalachian backcountry to clear my head. Quiet places, empty places, places where nothing should be able to find you. That's what I thought, anyway. This happened in late October, just past the peak of fall colors. I was deep in a stretch of the Appalachian backcountry near the Virginia-West Virginia line. No marked campsites nearby, no roads, just old logging trails and a ridge line that went on forever. The first day was normal, too normal. Wind in the trees, leaves crunching underfoot, occasional bird calls. I set camp before sunset, cooked freeze-dried food, and listened to the silence like it was something I could understand if I paid enough attention. That night, just after 2 a.m., I heard someone walking around my camp. Not fast, not sneaking, just circling. I froze inside my tent, listened. The steps were soft but deliberate, branches bending, leaves shifting, like boots on wet ground. "Hello?" I called out. The walking stopped. Then, from just beyond the tree line, I heard my brother's voice. "Danny, you awake?" I went cold. My brother had been dead for 4 years. I didn't respond. The voice chuckled softly. Familiar. Too familiar. Then it said, "I fell and twisted my ankle. Can you come help me?" I stayed silent. Didn't breathe. Didn't move. After a long pause, the voice sighed like it was disappointed and walked away. The next morning, there were no footprints, no broken branches, nothing. I told myself it was exhaustion, echoes in the woods, wind through weird terrain. But I started hiking faster after that. By the second night, I was farther up the ridge. The forest got denser, the canopy thicker. Light disappeared earlier. That night, I built a small fire, kept it low, controlled. I didn't want attention. Around midnight, I heard footsteps again. This time, they didn't circle. They stopped right outside the firelight, and my father spoke. "Danny, why didn't you call me back?" My throat locked. My father was alive, but he hadn't spoken to me in years, not since the divorce. "I know you're there," the voice continued, softer now, hurt. "I just want to talk." I grabbed my knife, didn't answer. The fire flickered. And then I heard my own voice from behind me, low, calm, standing just outside the light. "Don't trust it." I spun around so fast I nearly fell into the fire. Nothing. No movement. No shape. No eyes reflecting the flames. But the voice continued, now closer. "It's not me," it said, sounding exactly like me. "It never is." I didn't sleep. On the third day, I tried to leave the area early. I packed everything before sunrise and pushed hard along the ridgeline, trying to break out toward a known trail junction. But the forest didn't match my map anymore. The landmarks were wrong. A rock formation I had passed the day before was gone. A creek that should have been on my left was suddenly on my right, and every few hours I would hear it again. Never the same voice twice. A ranger I once spoke to on a different trip, calling me by name. A woman I hadn't thought about in years, asking why I left. Even my own voice, whispering things I never said out loud. Each time it was just outside sight, never inside the trees, never in the open. Always just beyond where I could justify turning my head. That night, I stopped trying to camp. I just walked. That's when it started running, footsteps behind me, matching my pace exactly. When I stopped, they stopped. When I changed direction, they changed too. And then it spoke again. My brother, my father, my voice, all layered together like something trying on human skin. You can't leave without saying goodbye. I ran. I don't know how long. Hours, maybe. The forest became a blur of dark trunks and snapping twigs and breath I couldn't control. Eventually, I reached an old service clearing, rusted equipment, half-collapsed fencing, and silence. Real silence. I stood there, hands shaking, scanning every edge of the tree line. Nothing followed me in. For the first time in days, I felt almost safe. Then my radio, turned off in my pack, crackled to life. "Danny," it said softly, "turn around." I didn't. The voice sighed, and then, right behind my ear, the last thing it ever said to me, "We only need you to look once." I left the pack there. I ran without it. I made it out 2 days later on a logging road. A hunter found me before I collapsed. Search teams went back for my gear. They found nothing. No pack, no fire sites, no trail markers disturbed. They told me I probably got turned around, hallucinated from stress and isolation. But here's the thing I can't explain. Sometimes when I'm alone now, I hear people calling me from rooms I'm not in, and every time I almost answer, it sounds just a little too real. Story 2. My name is Rowan Kessler. I'm 34. I used to work search and recovery in the Appalachian corridor, helping find lost hikers before the mountains turned them into something else. I quit after a winter mission I don't like talking about, but months later I went back into the backcountry alone, telling myself I needed closure. Western Virginia, deep section of the Appalachian Trail, low traffic, long stretches of empty forest. The first day was normal, too normal. No sounds where there should have been sounds. Even the wind felt muted. That night, around 1:40 a.m., I heard my name. "Rowan," right outside my tarp. Then my mother's voice, dead calm. "Don't turn on the light." I turned it on anyway. She was there at the edge of the trees, or something like her. Same shape, same posture, but the face was wrong in a way that didn't stay still. Features shifting slightly every time I focused, like it was correcting itself from a broken memory, like it was assembling a human instead of wearing one. It told me again, softer now, "Turn it off." I didn't. That's when it stepped forward, and I saw the details weren't just wrong, they were incomplete. Hands guessed at, feet reconstructed from distance, proportions slightly misfiled, like a sketch copied too many times. It wasn't wearing her face, it was building it in real time. I backed up with my knife and asked what it was. It tilted its head like it was learning the question. Then it smiled, but the smile arrived half a second late, like it had to decide how mouths worked. "I'm lost," it said. "Just like you." Then it reached out and touched my tarp. Slow, careful, like it was reading the world through texture. I didn't sleep. At dawn, I packed fast and moved back toward the trail. But the forest didn't match my memory anymore. Markers pointed wrong. Terrain that should have descended looped upward. The map in my head stopped lining up with what my eyes saw. And when I stopped walking, I heard footsteps stop behind me. Always matching, never passing. I told myself it was another hiker, until I saw Tom Alvarez ahead on the trail, my old search and rescue partner. Dead last winter. Same jacket, same stance. Same tired slouch like he'd just finished a long shift. He waved. "You're off route," he said. "Come on, I'll take you out the shortcut." His teeth were too uniform, too clean. like they were arranged instead of grown. I stopped walking. Tom is dead. The forest went quieter immediately, like sound itself had been pulled inward. He smiled anyway. You always say that. That's when I saw it wasn't just imitation, it was construction. The jacket didn't sit right on the body. The movement underneath it didn't obey weight properly. And the face. God. The face was actively adjusting, reacting to me in real time like it was learning how to be him. I raised my knife. It didn't react. Instead, it broke. Not physically, visually. Tom's face collapsed into blankness for a fraction of a second, then rebuilt. My mother, my voice. Tom again. Rapid, unstable, searching. Then it spoke without moving its mouth. You're hard to copy. I ran. The forest became motion and snapping branches and breath that didn't feel like mine anymore. It followed. Not chasing, not sprinting. Matching. Every step I took, it took. Every pause, it paused. And then it started speaking in my voice, repeating things I'd said earlier in the day, things I hadn't said out loud. That's when I realized it wasn't just copying, it was recording, testing me, replaying me, trying combinations like keys in a lock. Eventually, I broke into an old fire road, wide, open, sunlight cutting through the trees in hard lines, and suddenly, silence. Real silence. I stopped and turned. It was standing at the tree line. No disguise now, no attempt. Just a shape that looked like it had given up on being specific. Like a person drawn from memory after too many years. It raised a hand slowly. For a second, I thought it was going to speak again. Instead, it smiled, using my own expression. Perfectly. Then it turned and walked back into the woods. Not leaving, just no longer needing to follow. I made it out that evening on a maintenance road and flagged down a ranger truck. I told them I got turned around, got spooked, bad navigation, maybe exhaustion. They believed me. But I didn't tell them everything. Because sometimes, even now, I notice things in people that feel slightly off. A laugh that lands too late. A name said like it's being recalled instead of known. And I remember what it said in the dark woods. You're hard to copy. And I don't know if it ever stopped learning. Story 3. My name is Caleb Harlow. I'm 29 years old, and I used to work as a sound technician for a documentary crew filming deep wilderness audio in the Appalachian region. My job was to capture pure environmental sound. No people, no interference, just whatever the forest was actually doing when no one was paying attention. That job ruined my relationship with silence. Because once you learn what real silence sounds like, you notice when something is pretending to be it. This happened on a solo field test in eastern Tennessee. I was testing a new long-range parabolic mic system with upgraded wind suppression and extended battery life, the kind of gear you don't trust until you've broken cheaper versions in the field. I set up off-trail, maybe 100 yards into dense woods just outside a quiet stretch of the Appalachian Trail. Thick canopy, low traffic, minimal human noise. Perfect recording conditions. Or so I thought. The first day was normal. Wind through leaves, distant bird calls, the occasional branch snap. Everything I expected. I hung the recorder from a low branch, pointed outward, and left it running overnight. That was the first mistake. Around 2:10 a.m. I woke up. Not because of sound, because of absence. The forest wasn't quiet, it was wrong. No insects, no wind shifts, no distant movement, like the entire environment had been muted. Then I heard my name. Caleb. Soft, close, just outside my tarp. I froze. Then a second voice, clearer this time. "Caleb, you left your equipment outside." It was my assistant producer, Mara. She was supposed to be in Asheville. I didn't move. The voice continued, calm and conversational. "I told you not to leave it out overnight. You know what humidity does to calibration." Then footsteps in the leaves, slow, approaching. I reached for my flashlight, but didn't turn it on yet. When I finally looked out, I saw it, about 30 feet away at the edge of the trees. It looked like Mara, same height, same posture, same subtle head tilt she used when thinking. But the body didn't fully commit to being human, like it was wearing the shape instead of belonging to it. The face was worse, not distorted, rewritten in real time. Every time I focused, it adjusted slightly, eyes correcting, mouth realigning, like it was building itself from partial memory. It raised a hand. "Why aren't you answering me?" it asked. My hand moved slowly to my gear bag. Inside was a flare pistol. The thing outside the trees tilted its head, then smiled, but the smile arrived half a second late, like it had to process how. "I hear your recorder," it said. "It's very loud." That's when I realized it wasn't just imitating voices, it was reacting to sound itself, learning through it. Then the voice changed, not fully, just enough. Now it sounded like me. "Caleb," it said softly, "turn it off." I didn't. I reached up and unhooked the recorder from the branch without breaking eye contact. The thing didn't move. It just watched, waiting. Then it did something that made my stomach drop. It went still, not frozen, just uncertain, like I had interrupted its method. Then it smiled again, but weaker, less certain. "You're loud," it said again, softer. I shut the recorder off. Instantly, the forest changed, not visually, audibly, like the world exhaled after holding its breath too long. The thing in the trees tilted its head, then stepped back, slowly, not retreating in fear, losing interest, like I had stopped being readable. The face flickered once, then again, then stopped trying to be Mara at all. What remained wasn't human, just the outline of one. And then it turned away, not into the woods, just away from me entirely, like I was no longer worth copying. I didn't sleep. At sunrise, I packed fast and moved toward the main trail, expecting it to follow. It didn't. But I still felt it, not behind me, not beside me, just aware of me, like something listening without needing proximity. I made it out by late afternoon. A ranger at the access road asked if I'd seen anything unusual. I said no, because I didn't know how to explain that I had seen it, and the only reason I was still alive was because I didn't respond to it. That night in a motel, I checked the recording. At first, normal forest sound. Then around 2:10 a.m., complete silence. No insects, no wind, then voices. Mara, then mine, then something overlapping both, trying to synchronize. Right before the recording ended, there was one last sound. Not speech, just a delayed imitation of my own breathing, like it was still learning how to exist through sound alone. I deleted the file, but sometimes when I work with audio now, I catch things that don't belong. A breath where there shouldn't be one. A voice that lands too perfectly in rhythm. And I remember what I saw in the woods. It didn't chase me. It didn't need to. It just waited for me to respond. And I didn't. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you have a story that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand on end, share it here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel and allows me to curate more of these stories for you.